that I don't disagree, but I also don't think it's a bad thing. But again, you have failed to actually quantify any manipulative behavior because it's people that grew up in a certain culture in a certain area, right? They grew up in a culture in an area, and they grew up
You're
in
just
that
like, well, it can't be manipulation. It's tradition. Well, it can't be manipulation. It's culture. Well, it can't be manipulation because the parents believe it. I'm like, I'm sorry, none of those
culture is. I'm
disprove
sorry.
manipulation at all.
Look up the definition of culture. Go ahead.
The definition of culture?
Yes, there are 5 spheres of culture. Go ahead. Bye.
Go ahead. Get ready for the gotcha, guys. Get ready. The arts and other manifestations of human intellectual achievement regarded collectively, the customs, arts, social institutions, and achievements of our particular nation, people, or other social group. And then the other one is a biological definition. So yeah, what's your gotcha with that? Where'd you get me?
Social group? I'm pretty sure a social group is a religion, is it not?
Is that your gotcha?
Well,
do you think that because cultures can include religion that I automatically agree that cultures should include religion as like an essential part of it?
Well, yeah, that's kind of what they do.
Like, I already said that I disagree with the enforcement of traditions. Do you think that I would just be like, oh, well, damn, some people force their religion tied to their culture, so I should be okay with that? Like, no, I don't care.
You disagree with the enforcement of tradition?
If I'm a Christian growing up in a Muslim nation and they say, actually, it's part of our culture that you disregard your faith and follow my belief to a T, I would say I shouldn't feel pressured to do that.
There is high key so much wrong with disagreeing with the enforcement of tradition. Okay, where should I even start?
What? Any tradition? What about traditions that include genital mutilation? What about traditions that include children being married off? What about tradition where people have no choice over their life determined from young ages? Are you just saying tradition for tradition's sake and you can never criticize it? That seems like a dumb argument.
You're saying that any tradition is wrong. You're saying that all of them.
No, I'm saying it's not automatically right because you call it tradition. I think that tradition can still be called under question.
You disagree with the institution of any tradition. That is literally what you said.
I disagree with the enforcement of tradition that can be harmful. Yes, like things that can be traumatizing. I think if you're dipping some Easter eggs in some food coloring, I don't think I'm going to find much harm in that. But if you're going out hunting and killing things and saying that your children who aren't really introduced much to the concept of death, like going out and killing things and having like a fun little intro because they call it culture. Sorry, yeah, I would say that shouldn't be enforced. That can be very traumatizing for children to see.
I mean, what else would you introduce them to death? I mean, food has to come from somewhere.
Other than killing?
What are you, vegan?
No, I'm not vegan.
Then, okay, yes, your food comes from killing.
I also don't watch the animals being slaughtered in front of me before I eat it.
Why
if it's
not?
out of necessity of survival, that's different than tradition. Tradition isn't out of necessity for survival a lot of the time.
Well, actually,
we did in the past, so we're doing it because we did it in the past.
We use it for necessity for survival, and in fact, a lot of for your hunting traditions, for example.
Great. Are we still in a hunter-gatherer era?
We use them to remember the hunter-gatherer era, actually.
Great, so it's not necessity anymore.
No, we remember
exactly what I said.
We do it in memoriam.
Nobody's saying you can't have records. Nobody's saying you can't have memory. Nobody's saying you can't have this being taught. We're just saying it shouldn't be enforced.
You can't teach it. You can't teach it, right? If it's not taught. Like, what do you mean? That's literally what you just said. Like you said, if it's not taught, if it's not enforced.
What tradition needs to be enacted and cannot just be taught?
What do you mean taught? Like in a classroom? I'm sorry.
You're the one who's using the term taught differently than me for some reason. Use it however the fuck you're using it now. What tradition needs to be enforced and not taught?
I didn't. I said it needs to be taught and that teaching needs to be enforced. I 100% agree with that.
I thought
think
you were just
everybody should
disagreeing
know
with
what
teaching. You said you can't just teach it, you need to do it.
Yes, you do need to do it.
I feel like you're not listening.
No. You're thinking teaching in a classroom. I'm thinking of teaching as hands-on experience.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I would say that no, I was definitely teaching as in learning, not just having to do it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, I fully agree. I think everyone.
But also, I think there should be choice, right? If your parent, what if you come from a long line of people who sew and you're all about like making garments and stuff and it's all very nice? I still think that like that can be taught as like, oh, well, our family does this. It's something very fun. You can like engage in it if you want, or if you don't want to, that's fine as well. I feel like that is freedom. I don't think you need to make your kids sew shit.
I believe in American classrooms, like, you need to sew for a day, right? You need to figure out how to do it. You need to figure out if you enjoy it, whatever.
Sure, short-term engagement in hobbies or tasks I'm okay with as a part of education or learning. That's not what religion is. Religion is an expectation of lifelong commitment. Come on.
You're right. I won't disagree with that.
And it's not just, oh, well, we have resources here, because you're pointing to a lot of benefits that religion like provide, which I'm like, sure, they do provide a lot of benefits, but that's like a societal benefit, not a personal benefit, right? Because it's like you can have society resources and then you can have things that like benefit you personally. And I think that those should be like separate. Like I shouldn't have to follow a faith that you decide for me because you're saying like, oh, well, look, you might get like a tax break from it. Because that can be like a societal benefit. I'll be like, that's not justifiable to make me believe in something I don't want to believe, or I might not know if I want to believe it or not. I don't think there should be an extreme pressure for me to follow or start to engage in something that I don't like have like full thinking of. I think that's wrong.
That's valid. And you know what? As like an agnostic atheist, right? Like I don't think that God exists, but he might. I don't know for a fact, but as someone who thinks like that and someone who still like wants to find a church, like obviously there are some sincere societal benefits that churches have, and I want to help provide those. But at the same time, like what do you think could replace the church? Do you think the government
could arguing for the erasure of church?
No. I'm asking what, because
why do I need to substantiate a replacement of church in society when I'm not arguing for the erasure of church in society? I'm arguing for the erasure of the practice of indoctrinating people into the church from extremely young ages. What are you talking about? Why are these the same argument to you?
But you literally agreed with me earlier that there is no indoctrination.
Where the fuck did I agree with that?
Because you said that most people in the US, when they become adults, parents don't care. You said...
No, I said parents say that they can believe something different, but it still has an extreme influence statistically over adult religiosity. I feel like you're just hearing what you want.
Oh, sorry. Correct me. Say it one more time.
I was saying parents say that their children can believe what they want aside from that, but they still raise them within the upbringing of religiosity, which is what I was saying is that it's all words, not action. So I was saying that parents, even though they say that they're not manipulating their kids into the faith, or they're not pressuring or forcing their children to believe, because they still want to have this public image of not pressuring their children into faith or like respecting other people's faiths, they still engage in the practice of upbringing them within the faith, which is extremely pressuring in itself. Whether you want to call it manipulation or not, it's extremely pressuring. And you're just going to say it's justified pressure, in which we can get to that argument. I'm just saying I've pointed out multiple harms and you've pointed out multiple benefits. I don't think that the benefits outweigh the harms.
So I won't disagree that it is somewhat pressured. Because somewhat. You're right. There is.
What percentage of children being raised in the faith like believe at young ages?
Almost all of them, because
Yeah. I think that's a little more than a little pressure. With that success rate?
No, I think young children just believe what you tell them. Like that's what kids do. Like again, I'll bring up the Santa or the Tooth Fairy like I did like 2 hours ago or whatever. And children believe what their parents tell them. And I'll bring up the 5 components of culture. So the 5 components are symbols, language, norms, values, and rituals. So,
okay, I already just proved this earlier, though. If a culture includes rituals that include something I would say are pressuring or forcing, I would consider harmful in some instances. Okay, I would say that they shouldn't be a part of that culture. Let me
explain. Right?
Religion. The ritual could be genital mutilation.
Religion has all of those things. And so religion is a culture in itself. And so if you want to bring a child up in your culture, you bring it up religiously. And that's how you do it. And
well, I need you to raise my culture, so I need you to believe in the pasta god in the sky. You have to, because I need to teach you my culture.
Yeah, like that's literally how humans work.
No, that's how controlling people work. And it's just normalized. That doesn't make it right.
People that don't think work.
It's just normalized. It doesn't make it right or wrong.
I need to do what my parents did to me. That's it.
Yeah, and a lot of that is called abusive cycles when it comes to, oh, well, my parents beat me, so I need to beat you. It's like, I'm sorry, you saying that your parents did it doesn't automatically make it moral. There are plenty of good or bad traditions that can be passed down, right?
Okay, so because my parents did it doesn't make it immoral.
Yeah, I'm saying it doesn't make it immoral or immoral, so you should argue off the justification of it being moral or immoral rather than, oh, well, my parents did it, so it can't be bad, right? I think that's your argument. Well, it's tradition, right? It's part of culture. People do it, so you need to protect it. Like, no.
What percentage of people do you think about this? What percentage of people do you think about this?
Think about what?
Whether or not it's moral or not. Let's be realistic.
With religion? Or the upbringing?
Anything. Let's go with anything. I think
people are societally taught to not really think about the morality of raising their kids in an upbringing other than it being like good. I don't think they're taught to critically think about it. I think it's just considered part of a practice.
How much time do you think it takes to critically think about raising a kid?
Depending on what aspect, a lot.
It can take 12 hours a day for years before you decide what is moral and ethical, and you still may be proven wrong.
Yeah, parents do the best they can. I'm not saying they're evil for doing it. I'm saying I have a better solution than indoctrination. My solution is a waiting period in which they have the ability to critically think about what's being provided to them, and that any information they are provided should be as unbiased as possible among other possibilities.
No.
Okay. Boom. Defeated. Got it. Thank you.
So the reason I say no is because
there we go.
The reason I disagree is because kids, at least me, I was kind of a bad kid, but kids do terrible things to each other. I think everybody agrees kids are...
Kids in religion do terrible things to each other. This isn't a solution. Do you think all bullies are atheists?
No, but the fear of God works at least 70% of the time, right?
I don't think that's a good justification. I don't.
And I think most of the problem is...
Do you think it's immoral to not raise your kid religious off of that mindset?
So I think in this culture, raising your kid religious is the best way to do it because it will raise them properly.
Are you saying it's immoral to not raise your kid religious under that mindset?
Am I saying it's immoral? I'm saying it's a bad idea.
You as an agnostic atheist think that if you need to raise your kid believing in some kind of God to scare them into being a decent human being growing up.
Depends on how they act. I'll decide when they're 5.
It's so weird. How is it not manipulative? You're using underhanded tactics of being like, well, actually, I'm not even getting you to believe because it's true or because I believe it. It's because I'm using it as a parenting method rather than actual devout faith.
What is underhanded?
How is that not underhanded?
I'd be honest about it.
About what? Your reasons as to why you're raising them religious?
Yeah.
Well, actually, you've been hitting people in class, so you need to go to church and repent. Like, that's what you're going to say?
No, I wouldn't request them to repent. I'm not Catholic.
Well, you're not Christian. You're atheist.
Well, I'm not anything, but we wouldn't go to a Catholic church. But no, I'd be like, no, you need to learn like some proper ways to behave, and
maybe just go to therapy. Maybe go to counseling. Maybe go to any other method of teaching them to be a decent human being other than using God as a replacement for parenting.
How much money does that cost? No, absolutely not. No, I can just take them to church and I'd be like, wow, we should be nice to each other because it makes you feel good.
I'm sorry, but parenting is hard. Using God as a scapegoat to parenting isn't healthy.
That's not using God as a scapegoat. That's teaching them in a scenario where it shows them being part of community.
No, you're using it as the farm that Dr. Phil sends bad kids to. That's what you're doing.
Okay, yeah. Church is the farm. Church is the farm.
Ranch.
Okay, go ahead.
To the ranch.
Go ahead and scapegoat. That.
That's literally what you're doing.
That actually made me giggle.
I mean, like, that's how you're explaining it to me. It's like when there's bad kids and they send them to like these scared straight programs. No. You're just like, well, I need to get them to behave, so I'm going to use like pretty much any manipulative means necessary, even if they end up devoting their life to a faith I don't believe in at the end of the day. It's just like,
that's not what I said.
How much do you care about truth at that point?
No, I said that I would take them to church to show them how to be part of community, to show them that helping out other people is better than being a bully if my kid ends up being a bully. Like, what?
I mean, you can take them to a soup kitchen. You can take them to other communities.
And do you know who runs soup kitchens most of the time? Religious organizations.
Great. Last time I went to a soup kitchen, I didn't have to read scripture to be a nice person. Shocking.
Yeah, but they're the people who organize it. So yeah, I would want my kid to be that part of the community.
And you don't need to join the community to go to a soup kitchen and do something nice for somebody.
Well, you do if you want them to do it regularly and you want to build it up as a principle in them. Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a principle specifically of going to just soup kitchens. You can say, look, here's a teaching of generosity and caring about people who are less fortunate, about people who need assistance, about people
and who
has struggles in life. It's teaching of
what
empathy.
Organizations do that? And what organizations do all of those things?
Just because religious people do it a lot doesn't mean it's only religious people. Like there's the Satanist community has like food banks and helps people in need. Do they need to pray to a god to do that? Why not bring a kid to a Satanist temple?
Where around me? We're near Tampa, Florida. Oh, guess what? They don't exist.
There's no Satanist communities? Nothing?
No, girl. It's all
Christian. Florida be damned. Maybe they should be more open-minded and free-thinking.
Oh, Florida not be damned, apparently. No Satanists.
Oh, yeah, true. They got that good Christianity down there where all the gay people are gone. They prayed them all away.
All the gay people are gone, he says. Girl, they're so... all the hunky...
Yeah, the whole don't say gay shit, report your queer kids to their parents... Out them immediately.
I was a teacher here, and we have a lot of gays here, and it's all the hot ones. I'll tell you what, I have.
Yeah, only because it's next to Key West.
Girl,
Fire Island Flamers, like I don't care.
Miles from Key West. What the?
It's just crazy to me. You're saying it's okay to convince people of a lifelong belief that a lot of people devote their lives to because they want behavioral correction in upbringing. That's crazy to me.
That's what people need. And I hate to say
fucked.
it. I hate to say it, but
that's fucked. That shouldn't be a good thing to you.
No, I hate to say it. It's not a good thing to me. But have you met humanity? Have you actually met humanity?
No, I feel like you're changing your argument, if I'm going to be honest. Your initial argument was not about behavioral correction. It was about tradition, culture, good for them. Well, as long as they're still like free thinking, it's okay. I feel like you're just changing your argument to whatever is beneficial in the moment.
I fully believe, 100%, that if you raise your kid in a certain culture and they decide there's another one better, 100%, let them.
At what age? At what age can you differ from your parents with your beliefs and practices?
I would say probably about 10 or 12.
That's when you cross the threshold of cognitive thinking to where you can have your own thoughts and opinions about stuff? Great. What percentage of 10 or 12-year-olds that were raised Christian are still Christian at 10 or 12?
Well, no. So to answer your first question, 10 or 12, no, you probably don't have the cognitive approach to actually argue with your parents, to be honest. But it's when you have the cognitive...
I mean, if they're as watered down as Christians nowadays, I think 10 or 12, you have just as much information as they do.
I mean, you know...
I think you got it all down pat by then.
With a lot of Christians, I won't disagree with that one. Okay. But
I don't think most religious people are scholars. I think a lot of people use religion as comfort, and it's okay for people to use it as comfort or moral justification to be a good person, or they can use it as a crutch for their fear of death. People can have their own reasons to believe, and that's the whole beauty of it, is it's their reasons. It should be decided by individuals who are passionate in their belief, not by other people for you. I don't want another adult coming up at me and telling me to convert. I think it's disrespectful if they don't know my faith and they're not coming at it with just as a proposition rather than pressure. I think the pressure aspect is the part that's disrespectful and inconsiderate. And I think that same mindset should be held in the household with your child being another individual that you are applying a disrespectful amount of pressure to believe in something that they don't even know if they want yet, because you're just presenting it to them as fact and truth to devote their lives to. I think that's extremely unfair. I think it's completely teaching them to not free think about this, and is closing their mind to a lot of possibilities in the future, which is why a lot of people stay in their faith that they're raised in. And I think that's just evidence that you're like, it's limiting. It's so limiting.
Block Snickers. 100% you're wrong. So there was one thing you said in there, and like that tirade was absolutely wonderful. There's one thing that you're wrong about.
What?
Pressuring.
Oh, it's pressuring. It's pressuring. Are you just suggesting behavioral correction? Are you just suggesting culture? Are you just suggesting going to an institution to pray and sing? No, it's law of the land in that household.
Does Guest know he's promoting right-wing talking points?
Talk to me, not them.
Sorry. I read that and I just got totally distracted. But yeah, no. So I think the pressuring is where you're wrong. So is it pressuring you to cook chicken soup when someone is sick? Is it pressuring you to understand herbal remedies if your grandparents taught you them? Is it pressuring you to know where the springs are? Like, is it pressuring you to know where...
It depends on the amount of applied, like teaching, right? Like, you could have a pressured practice of like, when we have lights out, we don't use flashlights. It's against my faith. We're like Amish, or like we don't have any technology. It's pressured that we're all going to be using candles. I would say that's an extreme amount of pressure, right? I don't think it's not allowed. So I feel like that's extremely pressured, right? There are aspects of culture that can be extremely pressured.
Right there, it's a belief. So like for your Amish example, like they don't believe in the use of technology outside of, well, it depends. So pure Amish doesn't believe in technology after like 1887.
You can even just see it as a hypothetical, just a community that's saying this is part of our culture. You're just going to be following it, whether you agree with it or not, until like a certain age where you can have your own agency. I just feel like agency around things that are faith related should definitely be granted, like from birth. I don't think you should have to follow somebody else's religious rules that you don't believe in until they make you believe in it.
No, I think you need a structure to start with, and then you need to build out from that, and then you need to reevaluate yourself.
I'm saying the structures are too strict. My parents could have taught me to be a nice person without telling me to believe in God. They could have taught me to be generous without telling me because God was. In fact, a lot of the moral teachings I was given didn't even involve God. God was just an embellishment on a lot of teachings through a biblical lens as like, oh, well, this is good. Oh, also, by the way, God said so. It's like, that's how a lot of my moral teachings were growing up in religion. I'm sure you have similar experiences with a lot of moral teachings that be like, be nice, be generous, be kind. In church, it's through one lens, and outside, it's kind of through another.
Then you're smart, because most people don't like to think that hard. Let's be honest. We don't.
And nothing I listed just now was like thinking super hard. It was just talking about how parents teach certain moral lessons.
Go. Teaching a moral lesson is already thinking hard for a lot of these people. And when I say these people, I'm thinking back to when I was
Republicans. Teaching. Yes, we get it. We get it.
No, I used to be a teacher. So I taught math in Florida, and one of the big things is
did I stop in third grade? I feel like Florida's struggling intellectually.
I quit because I taught juniors and seniors, and I'm like, I can't teach these people because they're too low level. Like I'm sorry, I can't bring them up to the calculus level that you want to get them to.
All right, we got to do closing statements. You've been on here for a long ass time.
I am so sorry.
You're good, but you've been very good faith at least, and it's a very productive discussion actually, and I think you have good argumentation. I just think you don't give consideration, and a lot of people don't think to give consideration to this because a lot of people are okay being manipulated with their thoughts when it comes to faith. And they're just like, well, I didn't see it very harmful for me, so like it must be fine. And it's just like they don't really consider a lot of people who actually do struggle with this or do have like extreme emotional turmoil around their upbringing or around how they viewed faith through their upbringing and how like it could have negatively impacted them. Because like they're just like, well, it was fine for me. And that's kind of where the thought ends for a lot of people. And I feel like I have to like baby people through empathy towards people who are non-religious, but like I feel like you should know this is a non-religious person. It's like there are aspects that a lot of people grew up in that were extremely pressuring or upsetting for people.
The only thing that I disagree is that the upsetting parts or the stressing parts, they're your responsibility whether you're distressed or not.
No,
growing up in a particular culture is not.
That's like saying it's like, well, your parents made you mow the lawn, so grass being up your ass crack is your responsibility. Like, no, it's just a result.
I mean, yeah, I'm saying what you're saying is, I'm saying that's a result, and I think it's part of culture, and I think it's an important part of culture. Yeah.
Yeah, but not all results are justified, right? And people can be upset with the results, and that can be a justification as to why it should be enforced, right? Like people can have extreme turmoil over being brought up in a controlling household with like helicopter parents. And that can be a justification as to why you should have more consideration for freedom, and that being super controlling about certain aspects of like ripping a door off somebody's hinges, even if you think it's what's best for them. A lot of people consider that like abusive or harmful. And you can argue harm in these instances based on the negative experiences of others, like the children in those situations. So I think that these are one of the things where you should have some consideration.
Like culture can be harmful, and religion can be harmful, and all of these things can be harmful, but just because it can be harmful, like, does that mean we should not do it? Does that mean like gunpowder is just because it's harmful, does that mean
mine is less on the harm and more the principle though too? Because it's like I have to point out the harm so people have consideration for the principle. The principle is about the freedom of thought, and I feel like it goes against the concept of freedom of thought when you're teaching people to just accept these giant answers of the universe that your parents are providing for you, that were provided to them by others. I feel like it's just like it's passed down like a pair of pants, and I think it's completely unjustifiable to do so.
That argument goes back to the Santa Claus argument, so I'm not gonna...
It doesn't. Santa Claus is a temporary truth you grow out of. Religion is something you commit your life to. You can teach things that are not true to like learn a lesson, but the whole point about religion is that it's not temporary.
Again, religion is temporary, at least in my case, because I think critically.
85% of American Christians were raised that way. So to 85% of people that were raised within that faith, it wasn't temporary.
Okay, well, good for them, and they've built a community, and I'm kind of jealous, because you know what atheists can't do? Atheists cannot build a community because we disagree on everything.
There's literally an atheist community. Like, there are atheist communities for sure. There's the Church of Satan. A lot of people who consider themselves atheists are in that community as well. Like, there's plenty of communities of non-theistic people.
They're like at 9.
They're smaller because we don't have a cult-like mindset in the same way religions do.
I'm sorry I live where I live, but I am geographically stuck. So
yeah, my condolences. Doesn't change my logic.
Well, and it kind of does. Because it's somewhat...
You can be limited by your surroundings and say, like, you have limited options when it comes to seeking community. Nobody's saying you can't join a religion. We're saying you shouldn't pressure a child to seek community in the same way you do if it implies faith being pressured.
Well, yeah, I disagree. Yeah, well, being pressured. Wow. Well, I have pressure right now to get a job. Right? I'm running off disability, and yet I'm running off pressure to get a job.
For the sake of survival, though.
Like what?
I'm sorry, religion isn't an aspect of survival. It's not food or water. No, it's something you can follow.
If I was actually part of a church, I would have had more access to resources by now, actually. So, like, you're already wrong there.
Wait, we're not... Who's arguing resources, though? We're saying, like, if you're going to go to church to get handouts, nobody's saying you can't. If you're going to go to a soup kitchen and get handouts from the church, nobody's saying that you have to be Christian to do so. Christians don't even say so. They say all walks of life can come and, like, bear the fruits of community that is built and, like, of... fruits of people's efforts.
And how do you build the community in the first place if you don't have believers?
You can have believers, aka I'm not arguing for the erasure of Christianity. I don't know why you keep representing it as if I'm arguing for the erasure of every religious community. That is not my argument.
That is literally what it ends up seeming like every time. I'm sorry.
So if you don't force children into faith, all religious communities die?
That's not what I'm saying, although it would be preferable.
Great. That's like I'm sorry, how is that not a cult mindset? How is that literally not a cult mindset?
Wait, no, I said it would be preferable.
We need to convince people to join, otherwise it's going to fall apart. So we need to use all these methodologies, like taking children into it at very manipulative ages to be convinced of it through child upbringing in order to find this community to build on it. It's just like, that's a lot of people's mindset around it.
I literally said that's not how it works, although that would be preferable because it would be easier to deal with. Like, what?
Yeah, it's convenient for the community to use manipulative tactics to keep the community growing.
Yeah, no, it is. It is convenient. I'm not gonna lie about that. Like, and yes,
It's also immoral. The way they seek out people in AA when they're at their lowest, the way they seek out people in starving communities to give food to them and a Bible, the way they seek out third world countries to build houses in while also handing out scripture. Like, it's like, I'm sorry, the church has historically used many manipulative tactics to keep the community there.
100%. I would argue AA is so much worse than just parents raising their kids in a church. 100%.
Yeah, me too. Nobody's saying it's the worst thing in the world. We're saying that it is bad to enforce. It doesn't need to be the Schmalakotz in order to make an argument that something's immoral.
I don't think it's bad to enforce. I think it's important to grow up in a culture, and religion is part of culture.
Okay, well, so is genital mutilation in some cultures. Guess what? You can still critique fucking culture. So is child marriage in some cultures. You can still critique culture. You keep making the same points I've already disproven. Just because it's part of tradition, just because it's part of culture, doesn't make it automatically right. And you're saying it's good to raise children with culture, so every part of culture is say so and you can't critique it. That's what it fucking sounds like you're saying every time you make that point.
No, I'm saying you're allowed to critique it. Like, we can make it better.
Then stop saying, okay, well, it's a part of culture. So then you can't, like, just, it's okay because it's part of culture. That's not a good argument. I've already said why it's not a good argument.
No, it is a part of culture, but we can make it better. Like, why not make it better?
It's not a part of every culture, too. I'm arguing it shouldn't be an integral part of every culture. It's like a necessity. I don't think that just because I grow up in a culture that is Muslim, that I should be pressured to follow Muslim faith. Or like paganism even, or atheism. I think if I want to follow a religion and that's frowned upon by my peers, that only shows how close-minded the mindset of that culture is.
I disagree. I think that culture should be grown in and improved with every generation, right? Like, we should improve the culture rather than just hate it. Like,
I don't feel like you're arguing for the progression or improvement of culture if you're saying follow tradition for tradition's sake.
Well, I didn't say that. I said there are good things that we should hold on to. Yeah, but I didn't say that we should hold on to tradition.
I feel like you said, like, every single example of a tradition that I said, like, oh, it shouldn't be pressured or forced. You're just like, but it's tradition. They should do that. Actually, yeah, it is okay. Do it.
No.
Like, even when it came to hunting,
I said,
you were, like, pretty much bit the bullet on every single one of those and said, yeah, do it.
When it comes to hunting, 100%, everyone should learn where their food comes from. If you eat meat, I believe you should learn how to butcher.
Okay, great. 100%. So it's not all traditions.
Well, no. Why would you not, like... Why would you not learn?
Okay, great. So why are you bringing up this one? Like, why are you saying, like, oh, well, it's actually...
You're the one who brought up traditions.
I brought up I said I gave many examples of traditions, including this one. And you're just like, well, actually, I'm not saying tradition for tradition's sake. But why can't you just enforce tradition? And it's just like, how are you not saying tradition for tradition's sake at that point?
I believe that, and I gave a reasoning behind it. But if you don't have a reasoning behind it, then no, a tradition should not be held.
But I just said not all traditions, and you're just like, well, no. So it is tradition for tradition's sake.
No, I didn't say that. I literally just said...
Can you differentiate, not all traditions, right? And you saying no, can you differentiate that argument from tradition for tradition's sake?
Yeah, not all traditions should be eliminated because some traditions are good.
Nobody argued every tradition should be eliminated.
You literally just said that. That was your argument.
Bitch, I need you to stop lying about what I said. You lied about this exact point earlier. And you're lying about it now.
Like,
I said there were good and bad traditions, and that there can be good ones that don't have harm, like painting eggs. Remember when I gave that example that were minimally harmful and I don't think are bad to enforce? And then there are things like hunting that are bad to enforce. You said the same lie about my position earlier, and I'm having to correct it like a second and third time because you keep lying about what I said.
I'm having to explain to you that there are some traditions that should be kept and some traditions that should be not. We agree on that.
We just disagree on which ones. Because you're saying it's not tradition for tradition's sake, and then I'm saying, okay, how is it not tradition for tradition's sake? Because I said not all traditions, right? And you said, well, no, which made me insinuate, that it was all traditions that should be followed.
No, it made you assume, not insinuate. Assume. It made you assume.
No, it was an insinuation. If I said, oh, not all traditions should be followed, right? And you said, well, no. It made it seem like you were disagreeing with what I was saying and insinuating that all traditions should be followed.
With implications. And no, you said not all traditions should be followed. And I said, well, no, not all traditions should be followed. Wow. If you would have let me finish my sentence, then it would have been fine.
We've been cutting each other off. Don't play victim, babe. Girl. If that's what you meant, cool. Not all traditions should be followed. So then stop using tradition or culture as a justification as to why religious upbringing is okay, because it's not automatically moral because you label it tradition or culture.
It's not automatically moral, but it is moral.
But then stop using it as a substantiation of the morality. You've used it as a defense multiple times in this conversation.
No, I'm saying that.
Well, it's a part of people's culture. They should be able to do it because it's a part of people's culture.
Do you think humans are moral? Like, what about humanity do you think is moral right now? Now.
I think morality is based on humanity.
Yeah. And congratulations. A vast majority of humanity is based on culture and tradition. So we're both wrong. Immediately.
What point did you think you just made there? Like, what specifically?
We are both wrong. Go. We can think about this all day. We can think about.
No, what point did you just make?
This
I
is
don't
reality.
understand what point you just made by saying, boom, we're both wrong. In what way was I wrong with what you just said? Like, at all?
We're both literally arguing some abstract moral conscientiousness, right? But in reality, life doesn't care. Life in Africa doesn't care. Life in India
Nobody's talking about what the reality is. We're arguing what ought to be. This is a moral conversation about what parents should or should not enforce, what cultures should or should not enforce, what society should or should not enforce as a societal standard. I'm saying the societal standard should be religious freedom and religious freedom of religious autonomy. People should have control over their beliefs. That is something I posit as a positive practice. And I think raising children to accept faith from a young age, something that a lot of people consider permanent beliefs that they live their lives according to, goes against this principle of freedom of belief. And I think it is very limiting and closed-minded to enforce a belief system to vulnerable minds at young ages. How is that like?
At the age of 5, you don't have freedom of thought. You believe in Santa.
So then you can that literally just justifies any cult. Well, you don't have freedom of thought, so just convince them of anything. What's your argument with that specifically?
Well, that's because they are convinced of anything. It's not that I can.
That doesn't make it right.
Okay.
Parents can convince their kids to be a fucking race realist and be racist as fuck. Doesn't make it right. What's this argument of, oh, they don't have freedom of thought, so any upbringing, any convincing is okay? Like, no. Stop using these vague generalizations of society to try to make moral justifications. It doesn't work.
Religion to make a moral guideline so they don't kick people in the face like I did.
Oh my God, stop making this argument. It's so weak. Oh my God. Do you think it's okay to make kids Scientologists if it improves their math scores by a point?
Depends what state they're in.
What if they go to a soup kitchen once a year because they were pressured to be pastafarian? Is that cool?
Actually, no, I would support that, yeah.
That is so wild to me. That is so crazy to me. You just don't value free thinking. You don't value it at all.
Oh, I don't value free thinking at all.
You spent so much time forming moral beliefs of your own and justifications for how you think the way you think. And then you were so easy to strip critical thinking or free thinking around religious topics from people who are growing up in a society where most people don't critically think about these things anyways. You're stripping that from them and convincing them of a faith at a young age, influencing them towards less free thinking and less critical thinking to accept a narrative somebody else sold to them about the origin of the universe. That is batshit crazy to me.
Stop right there. Because you're absolutely incorrect. It turns out you can't change the way that they think. You cannot make them critically think. The only way that a person can critically think is if they decide to do it for themselves.
85% of American Christians were raised that way. You can definitely convince them of shit. This argument, you can't change the way they think. Well, a lot of people changed the way they thought about the world through a religious lens because their parents told them to.
And congratulations, you don't get to change that by the time they're juniors or seniors. I don't know. I only taught juniors and seniors. Maybe if I taught them younger, it could be different. And I could teach them...
What does that have to do with what I said?
I'm telling you, your conclusion is wrong functionally.
Functionally or on principle?
Functionally.
So I'm right, you just don't think it's realistic.
Yeah.
Then why are you arguing against the morality of what I'm arguing this entire time if you think I'm actually correct?
I have not been arguing against the morality. I have been arguing function the entire time.
No, you've been arguing culture. You've been arguing it's not pressuring. You've been arguing, it's not manipulative. It's actually good if it makes them a good person. You've been arguing moral arguments this entire time.
Yeah, so congratulations. There's 4 moral arguments, and I'm telling you it's not functional.
So you're not just arguing function. You're arguing morals and function.
I'm arguing outcome and function. Yes.
No, outcome is your argument of the extension of function. You're arguing morals and function. You're saying it is moral to raise your children within religion. You literally said it was preferable.
Yeah, like I would gladly take my children to do volunteer work in a soup kitchen if I was pastafarian. Absolutely. And I would make my kids make the noodles. Absolutely. 100%. Because number one, you need to learn that it is appropriate when you have plenty to help the world. And that is a lesson I will teach my kids every day of the week. If you have plenty, you should help others. 100%. I will never back down.
Nobody's saying you can't teach that. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
That's the one that you brought up, girl. Because if I was
nobody's saying you can't have moral teachings to your children. I don't know why you keep bringing it up as if I'm saying you can't morally teach anything to your children.
But that is what you said. You said
I said it's okay to bring your kids to soup kitchens. Who said it wasn't? Why'd you bring up that specific instance?
Because you brought it up, girl.
I brought up the instance of bringing children to soup kitchen as a way to teach your children morality without having to teach them about God.
No, you were talking about pastafarianism, which is, in fact, a god.
Okay. I said, why are you mixing up the context of all of this? The whole point I brought up pastafarianism was to show the absurdity of making somebody pastafarian so that they go to a soup kitchen and stuff, once or twice a year.
I know.
I'm saying that's absurd. That if that's the positive of it, that's the result. I'm saying you can take your kid to a soup kitchen without making them pastafarian. If you're gonna have a practice, if you're gonna have a tradition, why not just be nice? Why can't it just be being generous?
Because humans aren't nice. Humans aren't generous. Humans are disgusting, filthy, mean creatures. And you have to have a reason.
You have a moral code aside from religion. Why does your child need a religion for a moral code?
Because humans, including myself, are terrible, selfish, mean creatures, and they need something to guide them.
A lot of people use religion as a justification to be a mean bitch. I'm sorry. They do. It's not going to automatically save them. Some of the most conniving bitches I know were in church.
I know. I'm not going to disagree with that. But
you're trying to say, like, well, I actually just ran the numbers, looked at the graph, and found that it was beneficial. Most parents don't fucking do that. They raise their kids in religion because they fucking want to. They want to have that connection with them. That's why they do it.
Okay, and what's wrong with having a connection through religion?
The problem is that it comes with a cost of making their faith your own. You should have control over your faith. You should have control over your thoughts. There are certain things that just shouldn't be up to other people. Your religion being one of them.
They do.
I don't think your religion should be decided by the state, just like I wouldn't want it decided by a parent. I think you should have freedom of thought when it comes to faith. Because the whole point of faith is it's your choice to have faith.
And so when it's common practice, at least, in America, when kids turn 18, they leave home, and that's kind of when they get that freedom. They get the freedom to decide whether or not they want to stay with their parents' beliefs.
I feel like you made the argument that you weren't saying this earlier. Because did I not say earlier, and you said, oh, yeah, definitely, it doesn't erase the manipulation or convincing that happens within the household the second that they leave. We were literally arguing about this earlier. I was saying you leaving a manipulative situation does not erase the manipulation. If somebody's convincing you to believe something for your entire childhood, and then you happen to leave that place for like a month, or like even like a few years or something, it doesn't erase all of the convincing that happened.
So you're right, but you're also like, I disagree with it.
What part?
It doesn't erase the convincing that happened, but like you get to leave. Like, you get to experience everything else. You get to decide what you believe at that point. That's literally what it is.
Let's say you were raised in a haunted house. Let's say you were raised in a really scary house, and the person in that house made you convinced that there were ghosts everywhere. That in every shadow, in every closet, under every bed, there was a specter, scary as fuck. And after, let's say, 10 years of living in that house, you leave. Are you going to stop checking under your bed? Are you going to stop checking closets? Are you going to stop checking shadows? No, because that shit was instilled in you.
There's a difference between a habit and a belief. You're talking about habits versus beliefs. Yes, if something's a habit, then I'll continue doing it. But if
I'm sorry, prayer is a habit.
Okay, well then that's a habit versus a belief.
Cool. Like, the religious practices can be habits. Communities that you go to on like a weekly basis could be a habit. Like, things you do with that community could be a habit.
100%. You're absolutely correct. But that's, again, a habit versus a belief. Once you're out of that situation,
I feel like they act the same, though. The belief, like, aspects of the belief linger. Like, a lot of people who leave, like, Christianity, majority of the people who leave an Abrahamic faith go to a different Abrahamic faith, or just don't have a specific religious identity. That's because they're so stuck in their ways of believing in a single God that is the God, that a lot of them don't ever follow polytheism or like anti-theism. Like, it's specifically monotheism that they are pretty stuck to. Like, there's this whole psychology around
monotheistic
sticky religions.
Thinking, yeah. No, I know.
So then you shouldn't even be arguing, oh, but they left. That only does so much. That's why so many adults keep the religiosity of their upbringing, because indoctrination fucking works. It isn't erased.
What else can you do? I mean, well, that's...
You can give them the freedom to pursue the belief on their own. That's what you can do. You can have consideration over what they might want to believe rather than what you want them to believe.
Bring this argument over to polytheistic religions. polytheistic religions. You know what they do? They turn Christianity, a monotheistic religion, into a polytheistic religion. There are how many ways? Let's start. I'll start with one, my favorite, voodoo, which still has Jesus and the Virgin Mary. It's very Catholic. They have all the saints. But they also have witch practices. So, like, it's not like it goes one way or the other. It's all about the culture you are in and how you grew up. And I'm sorry, but I don't know anybody from anywhere other than the Caribs, the islands, that practice voodoo. And even then, those are relatively rare for you.
Are you just saying like most religions are an extension of other religions, therefore the sticky effect of Abrahamic faith doesn't exist or isn't prevalent?
I'm saying it goes both ways. Like
both ways as in what? What's the one way versus the other?
Because you said monotheistic people tend to practice monotheistic religions. Polytheistic people, even when they leave and they come to a monotheistic center, like... So I got my degree...
No, but polytheistic people are more likely to stay polytheistic. That's like statistic. I'm sorry, that's the stats. That's the evidence. That's the philosophy. It's like you tend to have a worldview sold to you from your childhood, and then it becomes such common knowledge to you growing up in it that you just believe in it.
Monotheistic people tend to stay polytheistic, and polytheistic people tend to stay monotheistic. Like,
what? No, they don't. What are you talking about? Are you saying people who believe in the Greek gods are just like, actually, let me throw all that away and believe in the one true God?
Monotheistic people tend to stay
No, you misspoke. You said monotheistic people tend to stay polytheistic, and polytheistic tend to stay monotheistic.
I do apologize for that one.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, of course. Like, you're sold a worldview your entire childhood. Of course, you're going to like have a predisposition. You're going to have a bias. The whole point is that it creates an extreme bias growing up in a household that sells you a worldview that is attached to so much morality, practice, culture, tradition, everything. Of course, it's going to have an extremely influential effect. And that's kind of the point for a lot of people who want to build community off of religion, is that it needs to be influential if you're going to have a big old community to go to.
It does have to be influential. I mean, have you seen some of the temples, like the Sheik temples?
Oh, gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Absolutely beautiful. And they're giant cooking pots, which I'm not going to lie, I do not want to eat any.
I think art is one of the biggest contributors to society of religion, personally. But like, I don't think it's worth like indoctrination. I'm sorry. I think that there are positive and negatives, and I think that I value religious autonomy a lot more than a lot of people give consideration for. And I'm speaking from personal experience of like people saying like, oh, well, it's okay. It's just like good. And they'll like grow out of it. And I'm telling you, people that were raised in religion, they can grow out of the belief, but the instillment that is there,
don't grow to the
that sticks with you. That like, I'm sorry, that sticks with you so fucking hard. A lot of people go to therapy or they go to deconstruction communities to unlearn a lot of the instillment that happened in your youth around religion.
So a lot of people might do that, but I don't think it's the majority. And I don't think it's a bad thing.
I don't think you know what I mean by instillment. Like, guilt, religious guilt, it transfers into other forms of guilt. The pressures of religiosity transform into other pressures of psychological harm. Like,
I'm not going to talk.
It doesn't go away. It's not just like, oh, well, I don't believe in God anymore. Poof. Everything I was taught about morality and everything is just gone. Like, no, it still sticks with you a lot of the time. And a lot of people do have to go to therapy to unlearn shit or to see it from different perspectives that aren't just from their parents' lens.
Then they need to have grown-ups and grown-up friends, because that's honestly, that's what friends do, right?
They need to have grown-up friends outside of the church. Otherwise, it's going to be more of the same, right? Yeah. a more diverse community than the communities you were taught to seek from childhood, which is just other religious people sitting in a circle praying together.
That's why you go to college. That's why you go to work. That's why you like do things in life, right?
Great, and I heavily believe in that.
100%. Like I don't
diversity is healthy. Conformity in your community is somewhat toxic sometimes.
100%. Conformity in the community can be, at minimum, brutal. Like when you have to conform at all, it's hard. But
and I feel like that's all religious communities are. It's conformity. There is heavy stigma to people who believe in different interpretations, or like leave the faith, or somebody who gets a tattoo, or somebody who gets pregnant young. There's extreme pressures of you're not conforming to the faith that causes social pressures in those communities.
100%. That depends on the church, though.
Definitely. I grew up like along the East Coast, from like smaller churches, more rural areas, to like Elevation Church, like mega churches. And I understand like it's a lot more devout in the smaller churches, but there's a lot more societal pressure as well, because they look at the scripture. So the more they're reading, the more they're like, actually, you should be doing this. It's like, yeah.
So I grew up in the Midwest, and I grew up non-denominational, and it was very much like, yeah, none of this shit really makes sense. So just jingle bells and be happy, and Jesus loves you.
Yeah, a lot of it was me sketching on note cards during sermons that felt long as fuck, that were pretty boring to me. But I like the music, but I ended up crying almost every week because those songs are emotional as fuck.
They are, though.
They are.
Oh, but they're so good. Like I don't know how the Christian bands do it, right? But
they all follow a pattern. It's all a script. It's all a pattern. Same with the cadence that pastors speak in. It's all scripted.
No, have you heard the word of our Lord?
The pauses actually make me physically cringe so hard.
Yeah, I know. Like, but you know what I'm saying, right?
I know exactly what you're saying. And that's where it's just like, I had to sit through that week after fucking week. It was such a chore. It was so annoying. I hated it. And then you go to like youth group and you get to play cops and robbers, and like that's fun. And then you got to read a bunch of scripture, and then you got to take notes, and then you got to sit in a circle and affirm the faith. And then it's just like, oh my God, this is the cost of friendship at this age. And then the pastor announces, we're going to do baptisms. And then of course, all the kids are standing up because they're next to their parents and they want to go get ice cream after, and they feel extremely pressured to do so. Like, I'm sorry, there's so much fucking social affirmation from engaging in the faith at a young age.
What the fuck is going on in your church?
That was Elevation Church. That was, guys, you don't have to, but like, we have pools outside and we have t-shirts and you can all go get baptized today. And then guess what? Like 99% of the kids fucking stood up, because you're next to your parents. Duh.
That is absolute insanity.
That's what social affirmation from a parent-child dynamic looks like with faith. And it's like obvious to anybody who grew up in it. I don't understand how you don't see that.
I grew up in it, and I didn't have that at all.
You didn't have any of those social pressures?
No.
Did you ever go to religious camp?
Yeah, I was a Bible school teacher.
Bitch, how are you this blind? What do you mean?
Yeah, no.
How are you so in the know but not in the know at the same time?
Like small town Midwest, I guess we're just a lot more chill about it. Like we don't have all these pressures. We don't have.
You must have grew up in a really liberal ass church, because I was growing up in liberal ass churches and I still saw all of these social pressures.
Hyper conservative. Like, I swear to God, like if you go to my church, it's not my church anymore, obviously. I'm 1,200 miles away. I don't live there anymore.
You must have had horse blinders on. There's no fucking way you didn't see any of this.
I'm not even baptized.
In a hyper-conservative church, baptism wasn't like extremely socially pressured?
No.
Like in conservative churches, they literally baptize infants. What do you mean?
No, Catholic Church, they baptize infants. I'm not Catholic.
Not in conservative churches too. I feel like they really get them while they're young there in churches.
If it makes you feel any better, my grandmother's opinion. My grandmother still goes to this church. My grandmother's opinion is the Catholics are liberal.
Wow.
If that doesn't tell you anything.
All right, well, it's 5 a.m. and I said we were going to do closing statements like an hour ago, so I'm going to head out.
Oh, girl. No, we were supposed to do closing statements like 2 hours ago.
Oh my God. You're so lucky I was drinking. That's the only reason you've been up this long.
We're not going to talk about my alcohol or water habits.
Yeah, also, not a true atheist Christian over there.
Ada Fox.
Fucking wannabe pick-me-ass atheist.
Yeah, I am not a pick-me.
You're such an atheist pick-me. Did they pick you? Are you their sacrament hoe?
How am I a pick-me?
You're sucking off religious people so fucking hard, saying, oh no, you're not manipulative. Oh no, there's only a little bit of pressure. No, they totally can just leave whenever they want.
I legitimately did not.
It's like, come on.
I legitimately, I was the bassist in the church band for like 2 years, and I'm still not
drinking that red Kool-Aid. They got you drinking that blood of Christ, girl.
I must have that autism where I just don't see it, because I ain't got pressured, I ain't got nothing, dude.
I want you to go back and talk to some people that you grew up with and see if they see it the same way, that they didn't have any social pressures around conforming to the faith, that they didn't see the pressure of children to engage in the faith to prove their love to their parents or anything. I'm sorry, that seems so common knowledge to me.
And I'll text my friends and I will follow up with you on that high key.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you being respectful. I think that's as far as we can possibly go in this topic.
I actually we have had a really good conversation though.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, well, have a good night. You're welcome back anytime.
You as well.
LAI profile picture, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It is my Foxo. Gay furry.
Boo, AI flop. Y'all, how do I debate better on this topic? Literally, nothing I say works. If I point out manipulation, it's just I feel like it's indefensible. I can give so many arguments, but it's just so weak on the argument of the definition of manipulation. Because I see it as manipulative, but they would never. How can I argue this better? And also, what topics do you want to see me debate? Because clearly I get a bunch of people requesting piss, but then by the time I get them to join, it's just they're already scrolled and then they're gone. Majority of the time. This live was what? 4 hours? 3.5 hours? For 2 guests? Bitch, I waste some time. I need to start setting time limits. 20-minute time limits, at least. Maximum. That's crazy. Does it tell you how long you've been live anywhere? Hold on. That's wild, though. All right, well, I'm going to drink some more and then watch a show and then go to bed late as fuck. Spooky, why are you up? Unless you're in a different time zone. Only I can be irresponsible. You just woke up. Damn, I shouldn't have asked. All right, well, have a good morning. You will never catch me waking up at 5 a.m. Ugh. All right, bye.
Supposed to hire them, they will still hire them and they'll pay them under the table. They end up doing the jobs or completing the jobs that some people don't want to. And this is not the case for all Mexican people. But that is a form of exploitation. I think the problem here is that you are trying to argue against the prompt from a personal opinion of you being an American now and you accepting that, but you're not the only person, right, who has that, or you're not that view that